business as well. That's a different thing.
All right. So we are live, I think.
Yeah, this is now streaming live on YouTube. Yeah.
Just make sure we're on mute. Okay, good. We're on mute. Okay, so excited, Trish, to have you on today. Welcome to Channel 27. This is a VIP guest today. We've had 2 series this week. So, but Trisha is actually, do you go by Trish or Trisha? What would you rather be called?
Trisha's fine.
Trisha?
Yeah.
Trisha is a numerologist in the UK. She is well known. She is on psychic channels. So she actually does live YouTubes or live Facebook readings as well. So I have in the bottom here all the comments, or in the comments, I'm going to pin the comment, her website, her Facebook page, because she does this. And actually I popped in on one of her readings and she did a little mini reading for me as well. So numerology is such an interesting topic to me. It's just like astrology, always dead on. And so Trish, thank you for coming on my channel. And why don't you tell us about how you got into numerology?
Yeah, and thank you for having me. I just wanted to say it's going to be interesting with Vedic astrology because I have tested with Western astrology and the numerology, and it's like given the same message, just in different ways, you know, different modalities.
Yeah.
So it's going to be really interesting to see how that matches up with Vedic. Basically, I've always had an interest, but I used to be in the military. I'm a life path number 9, so apparently 9s often are in the military. And I was in the military for 11 years and I did weather, meteorology. I guess there's, you know, similarities there, lots of numbers and things like that. And it was I went through domestic violence in my marriage and went to get help to try and understand why on earth somebody could do that to another human being. But I'd always been humanitarian, you know, I'd always been interested in, you know, animal abuse, child abuse, that were big subjects for me. And that got me on the spiritual path. And, you know, there was one step after the other. And then I went for a reading with a lady who is a 9, the same as me. She's a numerologist. She works on TV. And the first thing she said to me was, you should be doing what I'm doing. Now, I was doing it as a hobby, but not professionally. It had no intention. And she just said, you should be doing what I'm doing. Within a year of that, I was working on the same TV show as her. But it just flowed. It was like, I'm not the type of person. I've had the opportunity to go on TV shows and I've rejected it because they're only in it for the money, not to empower people, which is what I want to do. So in a nutshell, that's how but it just like watching you, because I've watched your channel for some time, you resonate with me because you just like, you're so passionate about what you do. And I thought that lady's like me, but I'm probably more so than I am with numerology. And I just took to it like a duck to water. It just seemed to fit for me. I love astrology and I'm learning Western and I'm very interested. I'm very drawn to Vedic, probably through watching you. I don't think it comes quite as easy as the numerology.
Yeah, see, it's funny because numerology for me is so hard. Like, it's just, for me, I'm just not a numbers person. Just the adding just stresses me out, like on the fly. Yeah. So it is the report you sent me. And today we're going to actually talk about my life path because you just did it. And you sent me this report and I was just baffled how much more than just your life path number is involved with numerology. It's just as complex as astrology, maybe more.
Yeah, your life path number is the most important one. That's the challenges you're going to come across, lessons to learn. But I loved it. Like I'm a bit of a geek. Like I was trying to guess I predicted your life path number, and then when you came on and said it was right, I was like, yeah, I'm not in an egotistical way, but I don't know about you, I test it all the time. And I'm getting to the point, at first it was like 5s and 8s were really easy to guess. I just needed to know a little bit about somebody. Now it's getting easier to guess somebody's life path. The more numbers now are getting easier, but that's just through time. I've been doing it like nearly 8 years professionionally. I'm in my 8th year.
How many?
This is my 8th year professionally.
Okay.
But, I feel it's just the beginning. I feel it's just the beginning for me.
Yeah. Well, and also, you know, when I was watching your live, there was actually somebody in your chat room from Maryland, the same state I live in. So you're reaching people for sure over here, you know. So, and that's, yeah.
Yeah, I've lots of American, USA clients. I had a lady from South Africa the other night, which I've known for ages. The Facebook Lives, I've got my YouTube channel, but I've not really used it like you do. I've been using Facebook Lives because it just seems to work for me.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to do a real quick show. We're also going to talk today about some interesting things. And I was going to ask Trish what's going on with John Podesta's chart. And it's funny, she sent me a message and said, do you want me to look at anybody in the news? So she was on the same page as me anyway. We were on the same brainwaves. And so we're going to talk about some of the people in the news and some of the world events that are going on and how it's lining up astrologically and hopefully in the numerology sector as well. So let me just share my screen. I just want everybody to see, because when they get a reading from you, because I thought it was just like, oh, life path number 7 and number 3, you know? And I just want to share what you sent me, because I was just, hold on, I was shocked.
Yes, 38 plus pages.
Yeah, I mean, here it is. So like all this stuff, there's so many things. In my name, she did look at all this. I mean, there's 38
plus pages. I mean, I don't know, it varies from person to person.
There is a lot to go. There's a lot going on here.
And then, and you have your main vibration from your birth names, and then the names you use now are the minor numbers. So you've got 2 lots of, you got your core numbers, and then you've got that again if your names are different. If your name is exactly the same, then it won't be different.
So my favorite part, sorry, I have to just show this because this cracked me up. Hold on, where did it go? I'm never gonna find it right now. It said the one thing is about me is I'm usually right, because it says you have to be careful with how you come across, because normally you're right about everything. And
it's like your life path number part further up.
What was it? Oh, here it is. Because you're almost always right. You need to be very careful not to become over righteous and self-justifying. And I am stubborn like that. You know, if I think I'm right and I have something to say, you know, I really don't. I mean, it's kind of like.
See, it says about intellect. 7s are all in the mind, very much in the mind. So they're analytical, technical. A lot of astrologers, a lot of numerologists are number 7, life path numbers. Deepak Chopra, he's a number 7. He teaches about meditation, so it's coming out of the mind into the body. You've got more than 1 7 though. You've got your personality numbers are 7 as well. So it sort of intensifies it.
And you said it's kind of like Scorpio energy. You were like, you think you know me, but you really don't. Everybody thinks they know me, but they really don't know me.
Yeah, I saw some photographs of you, and it's like I just could really see it strong in you. Then it was like, yeah, there's this veil up. She's got to be number 7.
Yep. Yeah. I really didn't like hearing that the Queen of England was a number 7, but that was about the only upsetting thing. But there are a lot. It seems like there's a lot of people. I'm number 7. It sounds like is more introverted, just likes their space, solitude, and you know, I could do everything alone. I'm so happy by myself. Actually, it seems to me when people end up getting involved in my life, that's when I get off track, and it's more confusing to me.
But you have to be careful you don't go too far the other way, where you become too isolated.
Yeah. I've
got a 7 attitude number, so I've got that element in me as well.
Yeah. So tell me about, like, when you do a numerology reading, what kind of numbers are there that are going to come out? Like, so you could use these examples, but what do you look at? So
the most important one is your life path number. So I take somebody's full date of birth. So for me, it's June 19th, 1973. Mm-hmm. And you add up all the digits until you get, and what they, like mine, I think adds up to 36. So then you'd add the 3 and the 6 and you get the 9. Mm-hmm. Now that's my life path number. For someone else, if it added up to 11, 22, 33, you don't reduce it down because they're the master numbers, which they've come to do. And you can have master, like we have 6 core numbers, so you can have master numbers within your chart as well. Like my expression numbers are master number 22, 4. So that's another side to me. So, but your main one is your life path number. That's the most important one.
Yeah.
And then you've got your birthday number, you've got your attitude number, which is from your day and month of birth. You've got your expression number, heart's desire, and personality number. Now, I do a lot of couples compatibility, but you know, what you would do there is the more numbers you have the same or in the same soul group, the better, the easier relationship will flow, and the more likely it is to last. If you had like 4 out of 6 numbers were toxic to each other, you'd want to even question why you're even in that relationship. The chances are it's just physical attraction and it won't last.
So do you find that being pretty accurate?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Like my 2 long-term relationships have been life path number 6s and I'm a 9. 6 and 9 go really well together.
Right, right.
The ones I find the hardest in men for me is a 7. I get really well with you, but I find men 7s just really, a 7 and 9 can work, but we often have spiritual or religious differences. For me, it'd be spiritual because I'm not a religious person, but yeah.
See, that's interesting to think about, because if you think of me, I'm not religious at all. I mean, I say, you know, I call it Heidiism. That's my religion. It's kind of, you know, just doing the right thing. And I believe in reincarnation, and it's my own kind of set of things. So I guess, do you tend to find 7s are religious? And
no, not really. Well, it varies, but the guy, say for example, just going on examples, it's really easy in dating for me because I get everybody's date of birth really easy. So first thing I do is I check, and I'll be honest, I get a guy's date of birth and I do the compatibility. And if he's a life path number 5, I walk, because for me, that wouldn't work. But say if there was a guy I met that was a 7 and we got on really well, but yeah, there was just this detachment.
yeah, interesting. Now, do each number, do they represent an astrological sign? Do you know if that's?
I feel so, yeah. Like for you, 7 is akin to Scorpio, and it makes sense because it's the seeker of the truth. They like to go deeper. They want to know everything about you, but they don't want you to know about them. It's the same sort of energy. So if somebody's a Scorpio and they're a number 7 as well, that like intensifies it.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's funny because Western way, if you think about this, Western way, I'm a Sagittarius rising, I'm a Aries moon, and I'm a Virgo sun. And then, which I was like, yeah, I wish I was, you know, you think you can show that mask. You know, this is how I look at Vedic astrology and Western astrology, because I feel like that's your mask and that's what your potential is to be in a way. But if you look at your Vedic astrology chart, then, you know, I was a Scorpio rising, Pisces moon, Leo sun. And when I investigated that, I was like, oh my God, this is so me. And nobody knows that I went to school for law enforcement, corrections. I wanted to be a cop. I'm an investigator. I'm not like a spiritual guru person. I'm more of like facts and more of knowing why psychologically people do the things that they do.
And the 7s are natural psychologists, you know, psychic detective, private detective, brain surgeons, things like that.
Well, no, you wouldn't want me doing brain surgery, that's for sure.
You know, that's the sort of thing they're skilled at.
Yeah, interesting. So then I saw there's also, you know what I also thought was very interesting. Tell me about this, because a lot of people ask me about your karma in Vedic astrology, you know, so how do you know about past lives and karma? And I saw that in here. It was one of the last things, but there was a number here that talked about karmic debts number, karmic number 16. What does that mean? Karmic number 19, maturity number.
Number 19. So if you think of the number 19, like that would reduce to a 1. So that would be all about not being too egotistical, you know, not trying to be always right against other people. It's like your ego can get the better. It's learning to not let your ego override everything.
Yeah.
In a nutshell, the number 19, you'd reduce it again to a 1, and it would be about not being too egotistical.
Yeah. You can
And
you be brutally honest. I don't care. I mean, I know I have some lessons to learn. So, and I know,
like my life path number 9, we have all, you know, positives and negatives. My weaknesses, 9s can be quite apparent, you know, quite aggressive, moody, because it's ruled by Mars.
oh,
9's
interesting.
ruled by Mars. So here's me saying, oh, I don't get aggressive, I don't get this, but if I'm really pushed, you know, I think people don't think I can stand up for myself, but
Oh
I
yeah,
can,
you can.
yeah.
You've got one of those charts.
But it's
Yeah.
probably with my mouth. I could, not as in, I don't really swear, but I remember everything someone's told me. So I would just tie them up in knots with reminding them of what they've said and done.
Yeah.
I'll be really honest.
And well, and also because you have a moon in Capricorn and Jupiter in Capricorn. And I'm going to say that my mom is, when she's mad, she can do this silent treatment thing and make you feel completely horrible for, you know, months. My God. I mean, when I used to get in trouble, she would be like, she would flip out sometimes, but then she was like just silent, dead silence. And she wouldn't even, it was horrible. Really.
I'll be honest, if I've never hit my son, never, I don't believe in it. But what I would do was give him the silent treatment.
Yep.
And that sounds awful, but that was just my way.
Yeah. That's funny.
I'll be honest. But on the positive side, 9s take parenting very seriously. You know, they're very protective, very kind. But we all have positive and negative sides. Depends what side you are predominantly vibrating on. You know, we all have lessons to learn. Like for me, it's forgiveness. So any 9s out there, it's forgiveness, especially family stuff, letting go of family, which is something I've just gone through or going through. Yeah, so we all have different strengths and weaknesses, lessons to learn, things like that. And it depends on when you go on the positive side, you know, the high vibration or the low vibration predominantly.
Right. Now, can you go through each number and kind of give a few traits of all of them, like what you find and, sorry.
Okay, so number 1, a life path 1 is the leader, not a follower. They're best to be self-employed. They don't really, if they're not self-employed, which predominantly I find they are, they either have a side business or where they work, they are in a position where they can run their own diary and nobody's holding their hand. The ones that run into trouble are the ones that are not in that, don't have that room to be, you know, running their own diary or in a position of leadership. They make great military leaders as well. So I do find most are self-employed that I read for, or they are in they've got the desire, but it's like either money gets in the way or something, you know, gets in the way. So life path number 2, so a 2 or 11-2, they are the peacemakers, the most loving life path number. But Barack Obama was 11-2 and Michelle Obama were 11-2s.
They both were?
Pardon?
They both were.
Yeah.
That's weird.
A lot of presidents, a lot of the royal family in the UK are 11-2s, interestingly.
Interesting. Yeah.
But what they've come here positively do is to spread spiritual enlightenment. But again, there's the dark, the negative side to it. You know, we've all got the positives and negatives. So they can be easily bullied, they can be easily swayed. So they'd be more easily to be swayed by higher powers. But on the positive,
you know, that's interesting. I'm sorry to cut you off, but think about this, because that's how an astrology is. Like there's certain, you know, there's certain nakshatras and there's certain conjunctions and certain triggers in charts that are very powerful. And most of the time, you know, when you do readings for somebody, it's, you know, you can manifest them in a positive way. But then when you have to look at it from a global standpoint, and when it's from like the elites and they're whatever, I mean, just because they're spiritual, maybe it's they're spiritual worshiping something that, you know, we don't worship, that's dark. I mean, that's definitely for sure. I don't want to say the Satanism stuff, but like, you know, there's a couple different nakshatras that can go really dark and do the sacrifices and all that stuff. So depending on what you want to sacrifice.
Yeah, they can easily be swayed. Like I've got lots of friends that are 11s or, you know, 2s, and they're very intuitive, very spiritual, very loving, but psychic sponges, you know, potentially 2 of our future kings in the UK are 11-2s, depending, you know, what would happen in the future.
Well, then
So,
we're
yeah.
on 2. So then what's the next number?
So
I'm
it's
just
3.
putting in the chat. 3.
So 3 is the creative one. They are very creative usually. They need to get their voice out there. A lot of actors, comedians, models, singers are life path number 3s. Now they're quite extreme in temperament. 3s and 5s, and I'll get onto 5s in a minute, are the most extreme in temperament. On the positive, they make great friends. They're born to bring joy to others. On the negative, they can be very critical. They are very. Oh, we've got some.
Sorry, that was mine. That was mine.
They can be scattered. They can be dishonest. But positively very creative. Yeah, you get a lot of singers and actors and comedians that are 3s.
And so what is my 3 though? That's my.
You've got a birthday 3 and you've got an attitude number 3. And you've got your heart's desire as a 3. So you got 3 3s.
I always see that number 333.
I love that number, yeah. And that's sign of the Holy Trinity, you could say.
Oh.
Ascended Masters. All numbers are positive and they've all got the negative side. Depends how you use it. You know, be extremely creative. Fun to be. So you've got the 7 that likes the solitude, but then you've got the 3 that would want to be in the light. You know, 3s, 5s, and 9s are meant for the public and the stage or TV, getting out there to the masses.
And that's funny because I hate that. Honestly.
That's the 7 side too, though. You got 2 7s that would want to retreat and hide.
Yeah, I mean, I want to help people, but that's probably like the conflict that I have. But I hate being on YouTube, and because I just get so fiery. You know, it's just the minute somebody says something, because I'm like, you know, this is funny. I guess this is my ego problem, but when I feel like I'm on here and I'm saying something, there's a valid reason why. So don't be a troll. You know, that's like it's so ridiculous. But I mean, you saw it when you watched that one video. Some of the people, and it's hard to take. Because when you're you're a Scorpio and a Pisces, you take things to heart. I don't care. Everybody can say like, oh, how do you this, how do you that? But I do get emotional about things. Like it bothers me.
They were brutal. And even I was wanting to chip in and like defend you. I was like, wow, I was thinking these people are brutal. And it's like, they just, yeah, but this soon switched when Rex put his foot down and highlighted a few things. But I was like, wow, this is intense. There's some very closed-minded people out there.
Yeah, but you know, thanks to a lot of them are great, and a lot of them came from there. So you know, I definitely, it's like that's my thing. I feel like I always have to go in the gauntlet to, you know.
Maybe you can handle it better than someone else, because someone else would have just crumbled and cried. You know, I was reading it, and here was the protective side of me wanted to come in and say, "Hang on a minute," you know. But even my comments were just getting lost. But yeah, it soon turned around.
Yeah. Oh, so 3 for communication. That's funny because the 3rd house is that house. The 3rd house in astrology is it's Gemini, and it's the house of communication. It's broadcasting, social media, all that stuff. You know.
Yeah. So next one's 4, which my son is. So 4s are the worker bees of numerology. They're the workers, the hard workers, the planners. Structure. You could put Capricorn to a number 4. So it's structure, hardworking, don't like to give up, can be inflexible. So the biggest life lesson for them is to learn to be they're most likely to stay in long-term marriages and long-term jobs.
Interesting.
You know, if you've got a 4 working for you, they will work hard.
Interesting.
So, and again, they all have lessons to learn. So then you move on to the 5s. They are the most extreme in temperament, which some people we've got to talk about tonight are 5s. On the positive, they're magnetic. So think Angelina Jolie, for example, magnetic, charismatic, charming, freedom loving. It's the rebel of numerology. So a lot of people say, why does anybody get involved with a 5? But they are magnetic. I've had, you know, experience. I've tested it, but it wouldn't work for me long term, because their second home is like the pub or the stage. I think, I'm pretty sure Beyonce and her husband are both fives, if I've remembered rightly. She's either 3 or 5. I think they're both 5s. So that gives you an example. But their biggest life lessons is to not abuse life. So they're most prone to addictions: drink, drugs, sex, rock and roll, drama, chaos, controversy. So our president, prime minister, and the one before were both 5s, and I was just like, oh, that's just not going to work.
And
they're not good to have as a prime minister.
Wow. And then, so you said tonight the people that we're going to talk about are 5s too.
Yeah, quite a few of them.
You know, 5's Leo is the 5. The 5th house is the natural sign for Leo. Leos can be the party animals. Yes, there's some Leos that are in politics, but there are some Leos that are the party animals too, you know, and depending on how they work.
Corey Feldman, John Podesta, particularly, are 5s.
Interesting. And John Podesta's ascendant nakshatra is Purva Falguni, ruled by Venus, which is all about partying, not so much partying, but pleasure over sex. You know, this is a nakshatra that can be oversexed.
Mick Jagger, you know, most people know Mick Jagger. He's a 5. So like, and if a relationship, like I mentioned to you, like his partner Lorenz Scott committed suicide. She was a 7, and everybody was shocked that within weeks he'd moved on and he was with like a 26-year-old, and I was like, how can he do that?
Didn't you say a lot of 7s die mysteriously?
Yeah, I've studied it. Princess Diana, Marilyn Monroe, Lorenz Scott committed suicide, but there was still a lot of what's her name? Bob Geldof's wife.
You're asking me the wrong person here.
Yeah, I know. Peaches Geldof was their daughter. What's her name? They're both number 7s. Peaches Geldof was a 7, and we think she took a drug overdose. And her mother was a 7, and she was married to Bob Geldof originally. Paulie Yates, she was a 7, both believed to die of drug overdoses. But we don't know if Peaches meant to do it, because she got 2 very young children.
Wow.
Died at very similar age. And she was 25, I think. Can't remember the exact age. Don't quote me on that. So yeah, Marilyn Monroe, I've quoted her. So yeah. But then you have the Queen, who lives to be 91. So I don't want any 7s out there. Don't want you to panic. They don't all die young, but you know.
Yeah. Or I would be nervous, but I'm not. Yeah, no. But that's interesting, because you know, there's always patterns with everything. And there's patterns with numerology, with astrology. It's all numbers. I mean, that's what this is. There's no, and then interpreting, you know, some of the energies. And that's kind of what you're doing with the numerology too.
I think the thing is, like, for example, Princess Diana, and I hope I'm not going to be controversial here, but she was about to announce things that people didn't want getting out there. And unfortunately, I think it cost, I'll say it, I think it cost her her life.
Yep, I agree.
That was no accident, and I'll say it, I'll put my neck on the line.
I know, I totally agree. And I'm glad you think that. I mean, it's interesting to see somebody from the UK, you know, that you kind of, like, I kind of opened up your eyes to certain things, a few things too, and people that have been on my channel, and, you know, you start researching around and you're like, oh my God, this makes sense. And that's how I was, because I didn't know any of this stuff existed, that all this stuff was going on. It's quite disturbing. You don't think it happens, or you don't want to know, or you want to pretend like it doesn't, you know, but the reality of the story is you have to face the facts. I mean, so. She
did a lot of work, Princess Diana, for, I'm not a big royalist, but I did like her. And she did a lot of work for charity. She, you know, when AIDS came out big in the 80s, she would sit and hold hands with AIDS patients. People wouldn't even touch them. And she didn't care. She sat there and held their hand. She didn't care if she was putting herself at risk.
Yep, I saw that.
Yeah. So, yeah, I was actually, people have their different theories about her, but, you know, I actually intuitively felt that she was a good person. Yeah. And her sons absolutely adore her.
Yep. What do you think of her sons? Do you think they're sketchy like the rest of them?
I've never thought they were, but like Harry, he's a number 1. He's a leader, not a follower. So,
I
I
know.
think William could be, no, I've never really thought about, he's an 11 too. So he, I guess, could be easily more swayed than Harry. Harry's a 1. They're more independent, like, I'm going to do it my way.
Harry's the one that's like kind of just zips around, right?
He's the younger one, yeah.
Right.
Involved with Meghan Markle. He's involved with, going to be potentially married to Meghan Markle, if I've pronounced the name right.
Got it. All right, so then we're at 8s. What is a, just curious, sorry to chime in.
Sixes.
Oh, where did I thought we were at 7s. No, 6s. Sorry, gosh.
Yeah, we skipped 6. So sixes are the healers by way of compassion, the cosmic parent, healer, teacher, counselor, that sort of energies. Ted Cruz, I remember doing, because we went through, because when the presidential elections were on, he's a 6, I believe. But on the positive, a lot of healers, teachers, counselors are 6s, day-to-day people. Then you got the 7s, which is yourself, you know, the psychologists, the psychics, the astrologers, numerologists, police detectives, you know, things like that, sneaky beaky stuff. They're the seekers of the truth. They want to know, and they know when someone's lying to them. You never want to try and trick a 7 because they know when you're lying. Natural psychologists.
Yeah, now with astrology, you can't put 1 past me. I mean, nothing.
No. So 8s are the CEOs, the visionaries, they aim high. They're the people that can generate a lot of wealth, and they want wealth. They want the best man or woman on their arm. They want the best of everything. If they've lost drive and ambition, you know there's something seriously wrong in their life. Like, they're not well at all if they've lost ambition and drive. They're the hardest to live with. But they're married to their work. They're workaholics. So their family, marriages and children can suffer at the hands of them. So I'm just going to their marriages and children can suffer at the expense of their workaholism.
Wow. So when mine says maturity number 8, what does that mean?
Maturity number 8. I'd have to look at that. So what does it just say? Maturity number 8?
Yeah, it says this number is special. It represents the peak of a person's development, the golden period when everything one wants is achievable and no misconceptions are left. When we are young, we see so many opportunities. Basically, it says your maturity number tells you in your period from 30 to 40 when your personality is fully grown. And the storm of...
So that should tell me that you get a lot of success and wealth in that period.
30s and 40s?
Yeah. Well, I'm in a personal year 8 now, so it's like everything's starting to really take off for me.
Yeah.
Those 7 years that I've sown all those seeds is really starting to take off. I've had lots of, you know, opportunities. Like, I'm just getting busier and busier. And it's word of mouth as well. I'm not having to push myself on people.
Yeah.
So
well, it also helps when you do live readings are amazing. So I think when you do that, that definitely, you know, people can see that you're real. You do a good job. You help them in public. I think that's seriously the fact that I do live readings and then you do live readings on just differently on Facebook. I like that you make people call in. I mean, that's kind of funny. Cracks me up. Like, if you want to do a live reading, you have to call in from your phone. But I guess, you know,
that's new. I didn't used to do that. I had a 5-month break due to moving and family stuff that I had to deal with. And then when I come back, it's like now we have the option to invite people in. And I'm like, I'm going to do that but I didn't realize that so many people would jump on. And
I know, I was really surprised.
Yeah, I was, because I thought they'd all be hiding, but no.
Right.
No. And that's really boosted things. But people, it just shows you.
Because you can interact. I mean, that's just,
we've learned, I've met some really interesting people already, and we've only been back doing it a few weeks.
Right.
You know, I got invited by a client the other night. She wants to go and open a healing center in Spain, and she wants me to teach numerology. You know, it's just opportunities like that are coming to me. Bit overwhelming because it was all coming at once, and I'd put it out to the universe to work with you, you know, and you came on my live, and I was like, oh my god, this, you know,
so funny.
And here we are.
Let's tell the story real quick. So Trish friended me on Facebook, but when I saw her, I was like, gosh, she looks familiar. I wonder, because it said she was a numerologist, and I recognized that picture. I recognized the face. I don't know from what. And she said, she was like, oh my gosh, Heidi's in here, blah, blah, blah. And I was
just
shocked
been
to
talking
hear
about
that
you.
it was. Yeah. And I thought you were a hypnosis. I swear I still thought like you were, because I used to watch these past life regressions, and they used to hold the pendulums, and then you would, to get you to fall asleep. And I sat there, and they all had accents, and you looked like one of them. I couldn't figure it out, but I'm sure I saw you on some sort of feed or something that came through, since I've, follow all this stuff. But
yeah, well, I've been following you some time, watching either, don't always catch it live, but I always watch the replays, and you just resonated with me. And I'm like, I only put it out to the universe really strongly the other week. And when you, I've just been talking about you.
that's so weird. That is really
like,
weird.
Freaking out, like, here we go. But
oh my gosh, and I have a funny story. So yesterday too, when I was watching Jeff's show live, he had a psychic on, or psychic medium, Barbara. I don't know her last name. She makes these spirit cards, tarot cards, and she's very you can tell she's very grounded. She's good soul, good person. You can just, and I said, and I just noticed it, and I made a comment, and all of a sudden her cat jumps on her lap, and I was like, what is going on with these cats? I mean, something's up with the cats.
Because that happened. I mean, my cat she's over there on the sofa tonight, but before we came live, she was up here. I thought she was sat watching herself on Zoom, and I thought, oh no, she's going to come and do it again, but she's quiet tonight. So yeah. So after 8s, we've got the 9s, which is myself. So they're the humanitarian. You think Mother Teresa, Gandhi, Neil Donald Walsh, Elvis Presley, Bob Marley, people like that. They've come here to serve humanity. But our biggest lessons, so any 9s listening, is forgiveness, especially family. If we can't forgive and let go of stuff, it's going to hold us back from helping other people.
Yeah.
Naturally, they're wise, evolved, very intuitive.
Do you hold grudges?
Not really. I'd say I can, if it's something like child abuse or like sexual abuse is a big thing, because that happens, and I'm not telling anything that's not my ex-husband was sexually abused, it turns out, and I was so angry for him, but that man's in prison now, so justice was we got him put in prison. So I don't hold grudges long, so once I've dealt with it, but I think that's because I've become more in touch with my spirituality has helped me. If I hadn't have gone down that path, I might be my ex-husband did some vile things to me, yet I don't hold a grudge against him.
What was his number?
6. See, he was the healers of the family, and he was definitely abused,
Yeah.
To the max, I'm amazed. He's in the military. I'm amazed he can actually hold down a career, and he doesn't do drugs, nothing like that. A lot of people would have turned to drugs. They probably would have took their own lives. It's disgusting what he went through, and but because I understand what he went through, I don't hold a grudge. If I can understand what someone's been through, then I can accept it. But it's when you don't know and they won't tell you, or they pretend to be perfect, that's when I have trouble understanding someone.
Yeah, that's how I feel totally about everything. That's why I like to know the psychology about people, because if I know that, I can get over it then. If I know why they did it, I'm okay. But if I don't know why and I can't justify it, then that's when I have issues with it.
Yeah, that's what I'm a bit like. So
yeah,
I've got more forgiveness for him than some people have done far less to me, because I understand, and it's not saying what he did was right, but to be honest with you, if most guys, if they'd gone through what he'd gone through, I don't think they could hold a military career down for 25 years and be very good at what they do. But it's cost him his marriage. He's married again now with more children, but it's cost him his first marriage.
I thought he's in jail. This is the other one.
No, the abuser's in jail.
Okay.
Is the man that abused him is in jail. But he's been in military prison twice because he was so angry.
Yeah, got it.
But yeah, but they do like to have a family, you know, and he's married again and got children, so he's, you know, but anyway, so that's 6s. So we've done 9s. Then you got 11s, which are the spiritual, they had spread spiritual enlightenment, and it's a higher, it's like a higher vibration to a 2. So you think of a 2, but it's a higher vibration. Then you've got the 22s. That's the master builder, Bill Gates, Richard Branson type people, here to leave a lasting legacy. That's a higher vibration to a 4. And then you've got 33s, which is like Albert Einstein was a 33. They're master healers. That's quite, you don't see so many, they're quite more rare. There is 44.
How would you be at 33? Just curious.
When it adds, when you're adding the date of birth up, when you
Okay,
get
got
to
it.
it's 33, so you don't go down to a 6.
Okay.
You keep it at the 33.
Oh, got it.
I know one person offhand who's a 33 and he's now an airline pilot, but yeah, very smart.
Interesting.
Yeah, but that's your life path number. So you could have master numbers within your chart. You know, your expression number. Your expression number is what you're made up of. That's all your names. So each letter in your name has a number, and it's all added up. So your expression number is from all your names at birth.
And I was a 7, no matter what. I still think I was a 7.
Well, I did the Heidi Vandenberg is different to the other names you gave me.
Yeah.
But your expression number as Heidi Vandenberg is a 1, a leader, not a follower, needs to be self-employed.
It's probably why all these jobs, since I've switched my name, besides this, have been really stressful.
Yeah, you mean changing your name? You know, I've gone back to my birth name, but you know, when you get married, this is why some people perhaps don't believe it. When you get married, your vibration will change.
Yeah.
I'll give a great example. So I'm going to go back to my ex-husband now. He found out that man wasn't his real father, and he found out he was given the name Schofield at birth. It's on his birth certificate.
Mm-hmm.
So I encouraged him to go back to that. So, and he wanted to get rid of the other name. Within 3 months of us all legally changing our names, including our son, I left him 3 months later. Not because like I thought, all right, we've changed the name, I'm going to leave him. It just happened.
Yeah. Interesting. So do you think I should change my name back? I'm not, I just can't do that. How do you get your number? Did they go over the formula? So I'm just reading some of these questions. Yeah, how do you get the numbers from letters? Does each letter means it? Because isn't it like each letter is signified by a number, and then
Yeah,
you just
yeah, A is 1, B is 2, C is 3,
got it.
up to 9, and then you start again. So it'll be A, B, C, D, like up to 9, and then you know you start. You know, so you could write 1 to 9 in a row, and then put all the letters of the alphabet underneath.
So
and Y can be used as a vowel or a consonant, depending.
got it. Got it. So do you think if you change your name, okay, so say I would change my name back to Heidi Pagosi, my real name, my maiden name, even though I'm divorced. It's just, I like it because it sounds like a mean school teacher. So it's more intense, it flows. And now that's not the only reason, but because I'm in sales, people know me now as Heidi Vandenberg. And it's like, if I go back, it's, you know, then I have to go explain it again. When you're in sales and you're in real estate, it's like your name, you know, everybody knows the name now.
To me, Heidi Vandenberg, just intuitively, stands out. It's got this, its strength about it. Whereas your other name, not there's anything wrong with it, but it doesn't have the same ring to it. That's why a lot of famous people change their name. Like, again, Marilyn Monroe, Norma Jean, it doesn't have the same ring to it, does it?
True.
You know, that's why a lot of them do change their names, because it stands out.
Yeah. So do you feel though that's bad luck? I mean, because aren't there numbers that are unlucky? That, for instance, is there numbers that are unlucky for me? Because in Indian numerology, I was told by a numerologist that 5 was a good number for me. 6 was a horrible number for me. That's because it's Venus. I was told that, what other number? Oh, I heard 9 was a bad number for me. And so I said, should I change my channel number from 27? But like, see, I'm not doing that. I refuse to live by that kind of those rules, because what am I going to live my life counting numbers and literally living my life by, adding things up and knowing if it's a good or that's just too superstitious for me.
Well, see, to me, when I saw 27, it added up to 9, and that resonated to me. I liked that because
that's your number. Yeah, right. I know, but apparently it's bad luck for me. 9s are bad luck. And I'm like, well, why would they be bad luck? I just don't get it. But
maybe it just wouldn't bring it. Maybe the way they're looking at it is it's not that compatible for you, but it doesn't mean to say it's going to be. I don't know. Everybody's got slightly different takes on how they work. Same with astrologers.
Interesting. So I change my prices. So I do my prices online to what this guy said. And
right.
It seems like it works better that way. So, I don't know.
So 106 because it's a 7. Is that why you have that?
Yep. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's interesting because for me, I use numbers like
and 111 or no, that used to be it. I changed. It depends on like what you're asking for. If somebody asks for like a lot of different things, my prices change. So.
Whereas I tend to use numbers like 33 or 22 or 444, not 444, but 44.
Yeah.
So that's just an intuitive vibe. I'll just think, right, I'm going to, use those numbers.
And what do you think about when you see numbers a lot? Do you have any thoughts on that? Because
I see numbers. The ones I saw first were 444, 44, 444. It drove me crazy about 8 years ago. And I always say to people, what are you doing at the time and what are you thinking when you see them?
Yeah.
Take a note of what you're seeing. A lot of people are seeing the 111, 101. That's about make sure your thoughts are positive. What are you thinking? Is it positive or negative when you see that?
What happens when you wake up in the middle of the night every day at 333? What the hell does that mean?
I get 444. I wake up at 4:44 and it's crazy. I look at my clock and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. I screenshot it now because I think that people won't believe me. I do feel it's a sign. If you think 333 for me, is really positive sign. It's the sign of ascended masters. I find 3 is a very lucky number.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say to people, take note of what you're thinking or doing. Mm-hmm. Maybe something. I download a lot of information at like 3 or 4 in the morning. I have my best downloads. If I'm still awake, I have my best ideas at 3 and 4 in the morning.
Yeah. And then another thing I see 22, like, cause I have my clock and military time just because I have to know it for astrology. So, that was really hard to switch over, 6/4 is 1604 or so anyway, I see since everything, well, do you look at time like that anyway? But
yeah.
So that's how you see time anyway. So with me, I always see, 22 or whatever. I mean, it's all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. Never fails, like every day. So all I do is see these crazy numbers.
That's for me, it's the 4s or the 2s, but it varies. For me recently, it's been either the 1s or the 2s.
Yeah. Then I start seeing license plates, and I think I'm nuts. Then I think I should go play a lottery number or something.
And then it's maybe on a receipt for something you bought. Like the other day, my shopping was 4404.
Right. Well, how funny is this? I actually did win. I don't gamble at all, barely. This one time I had to go to a mortgage conference, and my boss gave me a chip, and I just put it in, and I won on 11/4/2016 at 1604 in Atlantic City, New Jersey. So like I remember because the numbers were just all like, it was interesting. So I remember that, so I can check my transits when that number came through. This is what I do. Like, this is how I check things, and everything I do, I have my transits activated. Usually I'm checking these things, but I think there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot to numerology. Numerology in a way is everything, just like, and because astrology would not be here if there weren't numbers. You see, so it's definitely important. And when you're saying all these numbers, they definitely coincide with astrology for sure. They do.
Yeah. I mean, some people say to me, like, I don't live my life by it as rigidly, but I do use it a lot. Like, I will in dating. If I find out, like I said earlier, a guy's a life path number 5, I won't even entertain him.
Well, you should, You should always get them screened with astrology, because because that too is probably, I think, in my opinion, for compatibility, a little, like I would never, for instance, like Indians arrange their marriages from this, and it's called the Kuda system, and they arrange it just by the moons. Like that's the most important thing to them. But personally, I think you have to look at other things. So I think because sometimes if your moons are too high of a score, it's like you guys are buddies and there's no passion, there's no, the sex is horrible, and then somebody's going to stray, so you have to make sure all these things align. It's not just, so it's probably way more.
Yeah, I've learned to now look at astrology as well and look at their moon and things like that. But before I was just looking at, I've tested it out. I did have you could say a dalliance with a life path number 5. Don't get me wrong, it was totally unexpected, passionate, chemistry was off the charts. We're both Geminis, but he disappeared like without a word, and that's typical number 5. So it wasn't going to work, but it was something, it was interesting.
Yeah, interesting. So let's talk about, we have about 25 minutes left. So let's talk about what we're going to talk about with these charts. So Tony Podesta, okay, I'm going to first start out by saying this, or John Podesta.
John Podesta, yeah.
So I went on Rex's channel a few days ago, and I did Kevin Spacey's chart on the Leak Project, and I did, and I had, for some reason, I had John Podesta's chart up because there was a time out there that looked like it could be right. So I was looking at it I just couldn't stop looking at it. And then I go to the transits, and he has Moon conjunct Rahu, okay, which is completely, somebody that has an emotionally disturbed moon. Anytime you have Rahu conjunct the moon, it, there causes a lot of delusions, illusions, outer space thinking, or a lot of bipolar, schizophrenia. This is stuff that comes with Rahu conjunct the moon. And it's in the nakshatra of Barini. So Barini typically is, is the nakshatra and this is what the full moon is in 3 days from now, okay? So, and I saw this, the full moon is in this nakshatra, okay, Barini, and it's one of the most, so while I'm reading this book, because this is like the backup book I go to for my notes, but this is Prash Trivedi's book, and he's been on my channel. He wrote this book, but he has a totally different take on Barini, too. He has like some of the negative stuff, and some of the negative stuff over sex. People that are porn stars have come out of nakshatras in Barini. Porn stars, it says people in the homicide detectives, pornography, prostitution, use of sex and glamour, occultists, tantrics, sexual energy, judges, those in elite positions requiring extreme secrecy, volcanic and earthquake experts. Anyway, so as and Barini is a darker nakshatra, okay, it's one of the dark ones. But there's a lot of spiritual people that come out of this, and the full moon is in, this is nakshatra. Let's go with a little numerology.
What day is the full moon? Is it the 4th?
Actually, well, it depends on where. So 4th and 3rd, right? Isn't that right? So, and this nakshatra is number 2. There is a correlation with nakshatras and numbers for sure, because some of the Saturn ones are all number 8s. There's these just really weird correlations where these patterns with the nakshatras as well. There's 27 nakshatras. Hence why my moon's in Revati, which is the 27th nakshatra, which is why my channel is channel 27. So this full moon is eclipsed with Rahu, okay? First of all, his ascendant is a Leo ascendant nakshatra of Purva Falguni. That's the nakshatra that's all the party animal. Okay, that's like the one that can be oversexed, part of Leo. Okay, there's a Leo that Donald Trump's ascendant is in MAGA, part of Leo, which is all about the ancestral roots and the, your MAGA ascendant. Okay, so
I got the same as Donald Trump then.
Yeah, he's MAGA. That is a different nakshatra. That's ruled by Ketu. That's more about letting go. Ketu is detachment, moksha. So each nakshatra has a planetary rulership too. So, it's funny because, and then in Ernst Wilm's things, he has those that feed on blood, flesh, cruel man, those engaged in killing, imprisoning, beating others, lowborns, menial work, courageous, characterless, burial related jobs, dancers, actors, musicians, singers, wicked hunters. Okay. That's what the notes are for the nakshatra that like I first glance at, which not everybody that has planets in this is like this. A lot of people that are like OBGYN nurses have planets in this. So it's not always like this. But think about it. When you go look at a chart and you see a lot of these correlations, and then you have Rahu there, Rahu's the taboo breaker. Rahu's the rebel. That's the eclipse. That's causing all the problems. So this is all in his chart getting activated right now, literally. And he's got Rahu in his 12th house of imprisonment, hidden enemies, going to jail.
Well, his life path number is a 5 and his expression number is a 5, the rebel of numerology. The most prone to addiction, sex, drink, drugs, rock and roll, chaos.
That's interesting. Yeah.
So it matches up.
Yeah. And then what year you said he's like, so what is that day though? What is it? We said that day, we were trying to figure this out. What day is that? 6?
Which day is this, the 4th?
Yeah, the 4th.
The 4th's a day 7. So a day 7 can be about secrecy, secrets coming out, the truth coming out, what's been hidden, you know, what's been, yeah. If you think of like 7 can be, yeah, hidden secrets coming out.
And okay, so just so you know, everybody, there's a lot of stuff. I did another show on Rex's channel on November 4th, and I didn't even correlate these together. So when I pulled up his chart, I was like, God, I want to make this bold prediction so bad and say within 2 to 4 days, something can happen with John Podesta. So I have a friend that follows all of this and all of us, and I've done her chart. She's got like so many planets in Scorpio. She knows things, okay? And she researches a lot, and so she sent me a text message yesterday and said, John Podesta, indicted 11/3. It was from this fact-checking website that like researched, I don't know what it's coming from, but these were predictions. There were a couple, and I just was like, oh my God. And then the Anthony Weiner's wife, the one I gave you, I don't even know how to say her name. And what is she? Because it said hers was like 11/6, that she could get in trouble.
I've got her stuff. She's a life path 4. Now she's in a year of endings, interestingly.
Interesting. Yeah.
She's got the same life path as Donald Trump.
What is Hillary?
She's a 3.
Oh, don't even say that I'm like her at all.
No, her life
God, I'm the Queen of England and Hillary Clinton. Oh,
Hillary is the life path number 3, and I used to do a radio show called Cosmic Connection, and I just guest on there sometimes now because I decided to leave.
Yeah.
But I predicted Donald Trump would get in, so, and we've got it recorded 7 months before, and I didn't think Hillary would get in. 3's, it's very hard to find. I don't know if it's hard to find a 3 that's got in as president. And I just purely went on numerology because I don't do politics, and I wasn't going on what they stand for. But I think if she'd have got in, it would have been.
And what was Donald Trump?
He's a 4.
The hard worker.
Hard worker, jobs, you know, structure. I believe that he really does want to bring that back to America.
Yes.
Whereas she's about like stage storytelling. 3s are great storytellers. Life path number 3s.
Life path number 3s. Thanks for clarifying that.
Putin's a 7. Glad, you know, the president of Russia, or prime minister, is it president or prime minister?
Of Russia, Putin?
Yeah, he's a 7.
Oh, I've always liked him. I knew he was like, I've always liked him. I always thought he was legit. I think he's like, there's
what he says, he's telling you as it is. He's telling you straight.
Yeah.
He's not someone to mess with because that's that Scorpio energy to it. But he says it as it is. Yeah.
Yeah. I that's what I thought about him. Like, I feel like I would like him. Like, I would like to hang out with him. I think he's probably not like, he's done probably some sketchy things, but he's at another level where he had to, you know, and who knows the whole stories? Who knows? We don't know. We don't know the whole truth. We never will.
I feel he tells you as it is. He's not like, you know, but Hillary, I think if she'd have got in, oh, it would have been a disaster.
Oh my God. I literally, but first I saw somebody wrote, Heidi, you're a 3 like Hillary. No, I'm a 7. I'm a life path 7. Let's get that straight.
Okay.
Let's get that straight.
7.
My life path is a 7, not like, I'm like, who am I like again? Who did you say? Marilyn Monroe.
Princess Diana.
Princess Diana, that's me. Yes, beautiful. Perfect. I like that one. We'll leave it at that.
Deepak Chopra.
I love him too.
Yeah,
yeah, I love him. I love listening to him. But it concerns me because he's part of that whole elite thing. Like he goes to, the Hillary thing, and that's what bothers me. But there's
Taylor Swift's the life path number 7. Now people will never know the real Taylor Swift.
That's per her chart as well.
Is it?
So yeah, her chart is like that. I looked at her chart once, and I don't think I think she's a good person. She's just down like some weird.
Yeah.
And she's trying to get out. She's trying to figure it out. She's a little confused because I don't think she's as, because here's the thing. If you live in America and you watch conspiracy channels and you start watching all this, everybody apparently is part of this. Like every person, and I don't watch TV and I don't watch movies and I stay out of that kind of stuff. So I never knew, and nor did I care because I don't care. Like if a celebrity walked through my house, I would be like, okay, great. I was more excited to see Joni Patry, who was an astrologer that I looked up to. That was like a celebrity to me.
Yeah.
So for me, that, somebody that I don't know that's putting on an act is not going to make me excited.
Yeah, exactly.
We talked about life paths once, but they're the go-getters, you said?
Yeah. Leaders, not followers. George Clooney, he's a 1. Steve Jobs was a 1. Who did a lot for Apple.
What about okay, so John Podesta, I'm kind of making that prediction a little bit, maybe not 100%, because I think possibly, okay, that we should pull like 2 tarot cards and see what we think. Let's do that. Because I personally think that
John Podesta has definitely his expression numbers are 5. That's what he's made up of, and his life path. He'd be the most prone to drink, drugs, scandal, sex, rock and roll, abuse, you name it.
So there's another thing I forgot to mention. He's got another thing with him in his chart. And first of all, I looked at his trigger transits, and tomorrow is a big activation for tomorrow is like highlighted up, and it's all 12th house stuff. The 3rd all the way to let's say his time's off, because who knows, if somebody rectified that chart, it doesn't mean that that's his real time. So moral of the story is, if his time's off, this might not happen. But he still has Rahu conjunct Moon, so he's still a loose cannon. He still has Mars and Mercury in Sravana and in Capricorn and in the 6th house, which is why I think he was an attorney, but he is an aggressive speaker. He can cut throat people. It's in Capricorn, law and order, business, but there's another side to Capricorn, okay, that it's the devil in the tarot card. It's I mean, there's a lot, it's sex. I've been recently researching a lot about Capricorn recently. I don't know why, but it just keeps popping up. And it's literally Mars and Mercury conjunct there in Sravana. I'm not allowed to say anything, but all I can say is I talked to an inmate. I did a chart for an inmate once who was in jail for sex trafficking, okay, and something like along that line, and he had this exact conjunction, Mars and Mercury in Sravana. So Sravana Nakshatra, is like, oh, it's this great mystical healer, and it is. It's very spiritual, but part of it can give you problems with the law.
5's the most prone to going bankrupt. Money problems. They can lose all their money, doing shady deals. My father was the life path number 5, so I'm not saying he was as bad as that, but he was. I'm not going to say it publicly what his nickname was, but it wasn't like something I would be wanting my father to be called.
Yeah.
On the sex level, it was nothing, not sexual abuse, nothing like that. Yeah.
But then he's got Sun, Venus, and Jupiter conjunct. Not to mention he's got Saturn in his 1st house. Okay, his Saturn is in the nakshatra of Maga, but doesn't matter. He's got Saturn in the 1st house, and right now Saturn just went into Mula, which is on Venus, exposing the truth about women in the 5th house. 5th house is children. He's got Sun, Jupiter, and Venus conjunct in the 5th house, and I'm not saying, you know, all I'm saying is that he's got one of those charts that, you know, no matter what time he's born, these conjunctions are going to be aligned like this for the most part.
Yeah, the way I work, it doesn't matter what, like, he's prone to the addictions, the drink, drugs, rock and roll, sex, you know.
John Podesta, what is going to be happening? 2 cards. You have to pull 2, right?
I've pulled 2 already.
Oh my gosh. This doesn't even make sense. I don't even want to know. The Lovers and then the 4 of Cups.
4 of Cups. Swear to God, they're the 2 cards. I got the Page of Swords and the 4 of Cups.
Oh, so what does this mean? Because you know I don't do tarot. So translate it for us.
Well, if you see he's like sat there with a book, isolation. I mean, it shows that would be to me about solitude, like isolation.
That doesn't look like he's going to get in trouble though. But what did you say? The Page of
Swords.
Is it okay? Let's do one more because let's clarify this.
Just to me, that's like, yeah, there's an offering there, someone reaching out to him, but that is like somebody who's been isolated. The fact we both got the 4 of Cups.
There's something with that.
I mean, 78 cards in the deck. What's the chance of us both getting that?
There's something with the 4 of Cups then.
Let me pull in one more card. You know, and I've got my cards here. Look, you know, what are the chances? It must be God knows what to want to both pull that same card.
Ace of Swords reversed. The Empress reversed. 7 upright of Pentacles.
What's going to happen to John Podesta?
Nothing's given us Knight of Swords. No, they don't want to tell me. What's that?
Conflicts, arguments, battles,
Okay.
cutting people to the ground, you know, with that's playing dirty with words. He's going to put up a fight.
Yeah, the 4. Let's go with the number 4. So number 4, somebody wrote 4 of Cups. It has the number 4 in it.
Moon card, illusion, mystery, things not as they seem.
Okay, so here's another thing that apparently is supposed to be happening. Okay, so I did the whole, you know, there's big riots that are funded by George Soros that are supposed to start on the 4th. And I actually did a show on this on the Leak Project and looked at the transits. It was a rough day. I said it's definitely one of those days. And, you know, Bahraini Nakshatra is about women's rights. And this is going to be probably those marches that happen and the whole, and Trump leaves tomorrow for Asia. There's a reason why he's leaving. Then in addition to that, I've heard they're doing these testings, these, what are they called? Electrical magnetic things, EM, God, I should have.
EMFs?
Yes, they're going to be doing testings and apparently like the grids are going to shut off. Somebody told me this last time though, I ran to the bank, took money out and nothing happened. So, you know, but I'm thinking in my head, okay, possibly just maybe that something can happen with the secrets, maybe more along the riots, which is why Trump's leaving, taken off out of here because he knows. I mean,
well, the 4th is day 7, so it's all about potentially secrets, surprises, hidden stuff coming out.
Yeah. Well, actually, okay. So Gary wrote, "There's a Taurus moon on the 4th." So no, the full moon is actually in Aries because it's in the nakshatra of Bahraini. So, and Western way and Vedic way, it's in Bahraini. So, or I'm sorry, it's in Aries. It's not in Taurus. Taurus is the Western way.
Western, yeah.
And if you take a star chart app and stick it in the sky during the full moon, you will see where the moon is in the sky. And it will say, actually, you can see Bahraini in the sky. You can actually see it on that app. It says that. It's like a star chart app. Okay, so what's Kevin Spacey? What's his number?
He's a life path 3. So that's a milder version of a 5. 3s and 5s are the most extreme in temperament. But you see the negative sides. I've just written notes if anybody's wondering what I look, you know, I've literally written everybody's name and their 6 numbers. I'll remember the life path numbers, but I wouldn't necessarily be able to remember all 6 numbers, everybody. I don't want to get it wrong. But like the negative sides of a 3 are like dishonesty, scattered, disorganized, telling lies. That's the negative side. We've all got a negative side.
Yeah.
So not everybody but I have found 3s are great story. Hillary's a 3, you know, she was a storyteller.
Yeah.
gossipy, irresponsible, attention seeking. So Kevin Spacey's a 3. I found, now not all of them, but they are prone to love triangles. So like you think 3 and 5 are the most extreme in temperament. Yeah. For abusing life, but they've got very positive traits. You know, it's not all bad. I don't want everyone to think like, oh, a number 3 is really bad, because it's not. There's, you know, there's some very talented.
Yes.
But I found, you know, I've had a lot of friends that are 3s, and I've dated 3 guys, but you know, they spread themselves really thinly. So they might promise to do something, and they've got every intention, but they can't always
commit.
Yeah, and they can't always follow it through. They may have promised you and someone else, like a mate, a male friend, like, oh yeah, let's meet up. Oh, I've made all these plans at the same time.
Yeah. And then also the other thing that, you know, that's the same as in these nakshatras that I always do my readings by. I mean, you know, these nakshatras, Aslesha, Barini, the ones that are darker, you know, the ones Purva Falguni, but that's not always bad. You know, it's like, it's a big puzzle. It's how many are in, which house are they sitting in? Where's the Lords? Where's the, you know, majority? Where's Rahu and Ketu? These are what matter. This is more of like, you can't just go by, oh, number 3, she's bad, you know.
And have they learned the lessons? You know, some people may have learned those lessons, and they've stopped. You know, they've turned it around. You know, they've stopped being irresponsible. There's 3s and like 5s struggle with money usually the most, especially 5s. But Simon Cowell is another example I use in the UK. He went bankrupt in the 80s, but now look at him, he's turned it around.
Right.
You know.
And then, well, and that's interesting, but a lot of,
yeah, you know, he's made no secret of the past amount of women, you know, he's gone through, and you know, he loves women, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of it is, you know, you have to look at it, just people have different morals. So for the morals for the elites are going to be different than the morals for us, because we're their prisoners. You know, we're the ones working for them. Yeah. I look at it like that. I mean,
the Cray twins were life path number 5s. You must have heard the Cray twins. No, they're big in the UK. They were like gangsters, you know, big gangsters. Ronnie, the Great Train Robbery, they were involved in that. Well, that's probably more of a British thing, but they were life path number 5s.
Interesting.
And one of them was a complete psych, but he wasn't quite all there, but he was a psychopath.
Yeah.
Well, they both were to a point, really, to what they did. But you know, like, part of it is also nurture, because not every 5 is going to go on to be a psychopath, you know, because they, you know, so you've got to take other factors into. But you know what? It doesn't. There's not many times people say to me, "No, you've got me completely wrong."
Nobody's ever said that to me. Never.
I'm trying to think. You know, it's very rare. I don't even know if someone said you've got me completely wrong.
Yeah. Oh, and you know what's really funny? I think you should make videos on YouTube about like the personality traits, because when I got into numerology a little bit, I was looking 7s, and there's not a lot. If you just Google numerology traits of 7s, there's barely any information out there on YouTube.
You've read my mind, because tonight when I was preparing for this, I thought, you know what, I could start to do video.
You should, because people need to learn about this, and you could go in obviously more depth. I mean, we were saying a couple things here, but let's just, Trisha has, there's way more, there's probably thousands of things, just like there are in an astrology sign, you know, there's thousands of meanings and traits of that. So it's probably like, that's something you should look into, because there's no information on numbers, or if they are, they're real brief.
But there's not. I've seen a few, because I actually thought that tonight. It's like, I could actually do these as videos and go through all the traits of a 3, the positives, the negatives, the lessons they've come to learn, and it would be a whole YouTube video, you know. So yeah, that's something I did think about tonight.
Yeah, we're thinking on the same page tonight. Yeah, we really.
You read my mind.
Yeah, that's it. But that is a really good idea, because I just, there's not a lot of information. And then, you know, another thing I'm going to say about, I don't know anything about this Podesta family, but I would say the mother, I'd be curious to know if anybody knows, like, if the mother was there was issues with the mother with him, I would say. And see, and this is the thing, like, if you know, not giving him any whatsoever excuse for doing anything that he does, but you know, this is how I understand things, because when I was looking at Kevin Spacey's chart, you know, maybe if they would have had an astrology reading at 14 or 13 and didn't have some of the issues, like his father, Kevin Spacey had father issues big time. And I've confirmed that that's really did happen. His father was like, they said he raped, you know, them and him. And that's what I wrote. People wrote that in the comment section. And I saw that immediately. There was a I said strict father, something could have happened with the father. But then the house of rape went into the second house of family, childhood things. There was a lot of this triggered. You know, Mars and Venus conjunct can make somebody that has been raped or rape people, you know, it goes both ways. So you have to look at the whole chart.
I tell you what,
Dustin Hoffman, did you do his?
Yeah, I did do Dustin Hoffman. I was really intrigued about Corey Feldman as well. Dustin Hoffman, so he's a life path 9 like myself. Now I've always liked him.
That's why.
Yeah, I didn't know he was a 9, I'll be honest, till tonight. He's born the 8th of the 8th, so he's a Leo in Western. But he's got a birthday 8 and a personality 8.
You know his year? I didn't look at his birth chart.
37, the 8th, the 8th, 37.
And then do you know his city?
No, but I could look it up.
That's okay. 8. We don't know the time or anything. Do we? Wonder if anybody's in the chat that can do a quick Google, see if his chart's up there. That would be great. 8.
Let me get Dustin Hoffman.
I don't need multitasking. It's being a mess.
I was quite surprised, but I read something about him, and a woman said that he'd like been sexually inappropriate, but that was quite mild. And I'm not saying it's right because it's not. But unless this was not like heavy stuff that I was reading, but I don't know if I know the full story.
And how old was she? Was she 17?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was a bit overly.
At 17, I thought I was like 55, literally. And I used to lie about my age all the time. And I was
raped or anything. He was just a little bit over. Doesn't say. Oh, California, Los Angeles. He was born.
Do you see his time on anything?
Not on there.
Okay, hold on.
If I can get his time birth.
Because sometimes, like, I feel like Kevin Spacey's was a good one because it totally matches up what just happened. And I was pretty right about, and I never like look at Google things before I do it, just the birthdays, because I like to test it, you know?
Oh, according to AstroTheme, his chart's on there, so let's have a look if it's correct. Right, okay. Doesn't say the time, but it's got his ascendant in Capricorn. Oh yeah, 5:07 p.m. apparently.
Okay, and what was the year again?
37.
37?
Yeah, he's 80.
What? Well, he better have Saturn in the first house. 8/8/19. Really? Oh my God, that's crazy.
He's a fire ox. I'm a water ox and a 9.
Okay, what time was he born? I'm sorry, 5. You said 5 or 8?
5:07 p.m. So 5 in the evening.
And then what city in California? I'm sorry, I was
Los Angeles. You realize he was that small? 5.5.
He what?
He's 5'5.5". I didn't realize he was that small. So he would have been half an inch smaller than me. Not that it matters. I didn't realize he was that small.
You know, you have to wonder if this is gonna keep happening though. Like people are just gonna, this doesn't even make sense. Well, he's got Rahu conjunct Mars in the 12th house in Scorpio. He probably loves astrology. He's a Sagittarius ascendant with Jupiter in the first. That kind of doesn't really make sense because I think he would be taller than what you just said.
Yeah, 5'5.5". I knew he wasn't tall, but I'm.
But
I only had a quick look and I literally saw one story and it was nothing. Yeah, it's still
okay. I gotta say this. His moon is conjunct Mercury and Neptune. So, and it's in the nakshatra of Purva Falguni. Same nakshatra, the oversexed one, Venus. His sun is in Aslesha, that's the snaky one. His Venus is in Ardra. He's got Ketu and Rohini. That's all about pleasure, which is conflicted. So he's got some conflicts. And right now,
So he could be.
yeah, he's got some sketchy things. But
Right.
do I think it's as severe? Well, it could be. That Rahu Mars and Scorpio can go.
Yeah.
I say yeah or no, but
That Corey Feldman interested me because he, again, is another life path number 5. Now, he's the one that's supposed to have been abused, which I believe he has been. He's got an attitude number 5.
mhm.
Bit I didn't like is apparently he wants to raise 10 million from other people to fund his film and to pay for his protection and his lawyers, basically.
I'm not saying that he is, obviously he took what happened to him, which it sounds like it's true. I saw an interview he did, and I saw another one he just did. But there's something funny about it.
Yeah.
And for me, I just can tell. Like, I just have a vibe, and like, I'm usually right. Sorry, I am. It's true about intuition, about people's personalities. There's a bigger part of that story. There's something else part of this. I don't know what it is, but when you look at his chart, he's got a chart like the Clintons, like the Podestas, like the Kevin Spaceys. So I can't say that 100%. I don't know. I mean, are these guys like just, I don't know.
He's going to get 10 million to make this film about and expose everybody, but he's not going to expose until he gets the 10 million, apparently.
Yeah.
Now, if that was me, that I'd been abused,
he'll be dead by then. I mean,
I wouldn't be raising 10 million. I'd be like either speaking the truth or shutting up. I wouldn't be wanting to raise 10 million and not speaking up till I get 10 million.
Well, but he's saying that he doesn't want to do that because his life is at line and he needs to hire the right professionals. But then I saw the guy that is the Navy SEAL who's on the Alex Jones channel, who he busts the sex trafficking rings. And just let's go and talk about that, because today a sex trafficking ring was busted in Texas, and it was 58 people and 58 children, which some were 3 months old. Sex trafficking ring. They saved 58 kids today. It's not even on the news. The only news it's on is the Alex Jones channel. I mean, think about it. This is the problem. Yeah. People don't know that this happens. 3 months. Can you imagine? Like, I don't even have kids. And if I had a 3-month-old kid, I would be disturbed. If I had a kid, I would be disturbed anyway, just knowing that.
I would have killed somebody that touched my son, because I'm really, like, I know what happens to my ex-husband, and it's absolutely, you just can't even entertain that it goes through someone's head. But in the UK now, and I'm sure they've got them in America, there's a lot of hunter groups that are, like, the police have decoys and are talking to paedophiles online, the grown men that are policemen sat at a computer pretending to be 12-year-olds, then they go and bust them. There is now hunter groups in the UK doing the same thing, go with all the evidence, then they call the police and they expose them. And I am shocked at how many, and the depravity of what they want to do to girls and boys under like 11, 12 and downwards.
Disgusting.
And they reckon there's one on every street. Technically, there's one on every street.
And I have to say, like, people, I always think of like people in a lot of the UK, very sexual people, there's a lot of like swingers and stuff I've heard. Is that true? So
yeah, but this, I mean, when it's children and they're
like, I know, but that's my point. I feel like UK kind of like is more open to different, like, just like you said, there's a club right next door to you that,
across the road,
across the street. I mean, you don't have that really so much in the USA.
Before where we lived in the country. I mean, we were far away from it, but there just happens to be one in town near where we live.
Right.
But, I don't see anything, it's all covered up. You don't see anything. You wouldn't even know what it was if I didn't know what it was.
But would you say that, I mean, because that's where you hear a lot of this stuff, it goes on mostly. Like I've heard that all this craziness starts, in Europe, where all this is like.
The internet has made it easier because there's so many apps now where they're just chatting.
Yeah.
It's just made it easier.
Mm-hmm.
The internet is brilliant, but these apps have just made it so easy that they things they might not even say in public. They can just type it, can't they? But it still shows they've got that mentality. I wouldn't. My son's 18. The thought of his friends at 18, it's like, you've got to be, you know, a man. I'm 44. I think a man in his 30s, you know, anybody like in their 20s even, I'd start to think this is too young, you know. So, you know, when someone can think of a 10-year-old as a sexual, but the thing is, they're not wired up like
they're not like us.
No, they find children attractive and it can't be cured.
Yeah.
You know, the man that did it to my son's father, he did it to his own biological children, and my ex-husband he'd adopted him, so he wasn't his biological. He did it to all three of them.
Wow.
And he's the most weedy, disgusting man, and nobody spoke up until I came along and sort of
rattled up the seams. Yeah.
And I just knew straight away, there's no way that's his dad, and it just all started to unravel. And I didn't plan for that to unravel, but you know, but yet nobody confronted him, and he was the most weedy, pathetic man you've ever seen.
Yeah.
And nobody spoke up.
And if you look at their charts, though, you'll see patterns in their charts. You know, I mean, that's what I do. I like looking at people that have, like, the serial killers. I like looking at and I hate to say it, but surgeons, a lot of the times, surgeons and doctors and prominent people in society have charts like Ted Bundy. I mean, because they're still cutting people open, they're still doing, so whether they're just raised right with better morals, you know, you have to know what culture it's coming from. Not everybody's the same, but you'll see these patterns and you're just like.
I watched a documentary on that saying that a lot of surgeons had the psychopath tendencies, but turned in a good way, because most people couldn't do that job.
Right. Exactly. Like, I could never cut somebody open.
No, I couldn't even.
I would just think.
Yeah.
I would be gone.
So but they've got that tendency, but they use it for the good.
Exactly. Yeah. It's pretty interesting, though, to see that. And, you know, sometimes this is how, but a lot of the elites and a lot of, you know, they'll have prominent planets in certain things, but I've noticed government people have a lot in Capricorn, Sagittarius, but it's sometimes the darker ones. And then there's a lot of Libra, like the liberals will be a lot in Libra, Vishaka, Nakshatra. It'll be very like independent, you know, free in Aquarius, big time Aquarius. Those are the signs. It's just so weird. But you know what I just thought of? You're 44 and I'm 33. And what did I just say? I keep seeing 33. What did you say you saw? 44.
44.
That's weird.
Yeah, I've not thought of that. And my number, you know, I use 444 a lot on things.
I saw in your email too.
Yeah. And my Facebook's, you know, got 444. Yeah. I just, drawn to that number. So, yeah.
Well, thanks. We'll wrap this up today, but I saw somebody donate. I'm not doing live readings tomorrow. I am doing live readings tomorrow with today. I'm doing them tomorrow with Jenny. So I will be on, we will be on, I think at 3. But we're not going to do too many live readings. So we'll definitely do the readings if somebody put their birthday. Remember, if you do get a live reading ever, month, day, year, city, time. And then with Trish, if you could follow her Facebook, she does live readings a lot. Like you do them, I'd say you seem to do them a couple times a week for 4 hours. My God, you just have to make sure you go on camera. So she does them on Facebook.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but Wednesday night at the moment doing dual with the lady that does energy readings. But on a Monday and Friday, particularly, I invite you live on video to have a reading. So they're just tasters, because what we do private one-to-one, you know, is a lot deeper and you can ask more questions. It's more private.
But it's really good, I think, to do these type of things because, you know, when you do the live readings, it shows people that it's real. We're going out there just saying, you know, on the fly. So we obviously know something that we're talking about if we can just go on the fly and talk charts and talk numerology. I mean, it's just the way you can do live readings and you do them regularly and you don't have you don't have any comments that are like, oh, that's not me. You're obviously doing something right. So, you know, and same thing with the people. I watch your chats, you know, and they're definitely I love that you make people come in. I think I might do that. We'll do Zooms and send.
Yeah, because I'm thinking of now doing Zoom, because on Facebook Live you can't have 3 people in. So when we do the dual readings on a Wednesday, we can't have a third. We could invite a third person on to have an energy clearing. So can you
look at this.
Can you use Zoom on like Facebook Live?
I'm going to show you something. Yes, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, watch this. So I can go to, oh, I can't show you here. But anyway, when you go here, it says go live on Facebook. It says go live on YouTube. And it's easy. And you're immediately online. And you can have up to 100 people in these rooms. So it's called a webinar. And there's no, because if you don't have a program like this, you have to use this broadcaster system. And it was way too confusing for me. I mean, my IT skills we're lucky we're even doing this. That's why I don't edit videos, okay? Everything is real. So yeah, this is like by far the best system in my opinion, just because.
Yeah, I'm going to do this. And yeah, so it's good because this is now giving me, now I can start using this on Facebook Lives, and then we can have 3 people.
You can have 100.
Yeah, but like Julie can do her energy clearing on somebody live, that can speak back and and say, yeah, that feels right, or no, that's wrong, or whatever.
I would like to, yeah, that was interesting. I wish I would have heard that and was live for that, because that was amazing. That was pretty interesting.
She's done hypnotherapy on, I think we're having another one on Monday. And yeah, and I had a memory come back from childhood, and she did not guide me there, point me there. It just came through like a vision.
Yeah. I was wondering what her chart was, because I was thinking in my head, she might be a Virgo ascendant or she might be a Sagittarius ascendant. And
the Virgo in Western Sun.
Oh, she is?
Yeah.
I'll
get yeah, she's definitely a Virgo in Western. I don't know about in Vedic.
Oh gosh, somebody's sending me messages and saying, here's why Taylor Swift is a Satanist clone. So funny like that. But that's my point. You question these things, because I don't know, when you go down that hole, you're down that hole. You start thinking everything. You're like, is that fake?
Thinking everybody's dark and everybody's corrupt. And I must admit, that's all new to me. About even the reptilian stuff has been recently quite new to me. My son's more into it, than he knew. Every time I say to him, do you know about this, or you heard about? Oh yeah, I've heard about all that. That's
so funny. Well, he has that in his chart. You and I are more like, we're realists. Well, like I said, we'll believe in reptilians when they start walking through our doors,
Yeah, and I had this discussion with him, what you said, and he said the exact thing you said. He's like, he believes more in UFOs. He's the opposite to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that, because I think that's because UFOs are probably real. I mean, it's definitely real. But the point is, you and I are going to more likely see paranormal stuff.
Yeah, and he said the exact words. He said, I don't believe in all that, but I'm into it. And I'm like, well, until one walks in that door, I'm
right. Until I have to start answering to a reptilian shapeshifter, then I will come on here and start reading charts on that and understanding that more. Until then, it doesn't bother me now, and it's not affecting my life.
But I've learned to be open that there's the possibility. I would never be rigid and say, no way in this earth. I'm like open that if I get the evidence, then yeah.
Right. That's sometimes that's like always my point. Like when I do those shows, I'm like, just listen to what people say, because even if it's the wrong knowledge and you are aware of something of that topic, because if something does come up, you're not shocked, you're not surprised. You're just like, oh yeah. Now if somebody says they're a reptilian, and literally if one day I'm sitting there and I don't know, I literally see somebody turn into a lizard, then I'm just going to be like, oh God, they're real. Like, what time were you born? That's what I'm going to say.
I even said to my son, you don't look like you're from this planet sometimes, because I've got pale blue eyes, but he's got the most pale blue eyes. And at times, and he's got sort of, it's not blonde and it's not ginger, but and sometimes I look at him and think, it's like you're from a different planet, like you're an alien or something, but not in a horrible way. It freaks me out a bit sometimes. I look at him and it's like he's mesmerizing. I'm like, it's like you're not from this earth.
Yeah. He's got a couple of those nakshatras though. He does. I'm serious. I mean, it's funny, but so that's the thing. You have to know a lot of people have these. I think I can see in charts though, who's going to be more paranormal. Like for instance, Dustin Hoffman's going to be more into UFOs, I would say.
Yeah, he's not. He's going to be the intuitive, the wise soul type.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. I would say he's just, if he's UFOs or if he's UFOs, he's not paranormal, okay? I would say Kevin Spacey is more UFOs, okay? They're all these, there's definitely there's patterns here. All the people that are, because they're all Rahu. Any fame is Rahu. Rahu is, you know, it's secret behaviors, shadows, it's gambling, it's what it is Rahu's what you're here to learn, okay? And it's an illusion. K2 is moksha. So wherever Rahu sits in your chart, you're going to be obsessed with, you're not going to have any experience with it. You're going to try to work it out. You're going to fail 1,000 times, but you're going to feel more comfortable where K2 sits in your chart. So K2 is moksha. He just doesn't want to be here. He doesn't care about anything. He doesn't have a head. He can't see anything. He just has a body. So he's just wandering around, trying to get through this crazy life. And I have K2 in my first house. And Trish, you have K2 conjunct with a lot of planets. Okay. So you and I are heavily, heavily K2 people. So that means a lot of people that we're going to say goodbye to. There's a lot of letting go. There's a lot, like, don't get too attached to somebody because they're probably going to have to see you later. I mean, this is just the trend. But once you're okay with it, and once, you know, it can be balanced and it can work, because you have to learn how to work it. And the point is, you just have to not get too attached to things when you have K2, because at first you do get attached to things and it's a mess. You're like, no, I can't be alone. And then after, when you are alone for so long, you're like, oh my God, I love being alone. What are you doing? Why are you getting on my nerves?
I've been single for a long time now, and it's like, I'd like the company, but I'm thinking, well, I don't really need them around all the time.
Yeah.
I need somebody that can let me get on with my stuff like this, you know, because some guys they'd be like, I want your attention. I don't want you on that, you know, sharing your information. You know, there are some guys that would block what you're doing and
well, they won't support it either.
Yeah, you know? Yeah. I need someone that, you know, is like supportive of what I do and is like, you know, go for it, you know, and I'm proud of you, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, Trisha has a website. Everything's going to be pinned in the comments. She does readings, great readings. She did a numerology reading for me, blown away, always spot on. Every year, I thought, I have another year of building blocks coming ahead, go figure. So, but that totally aligns to my astrology chart. I don't think it's ever going to end. This is good though.
And I do read the cards and my pendulum. So I have a bit of, you know, typical Gemini stuff. I mix it up, you know. So if you don't just want numerology, I do the cards and whatever.
I like the pendulum thing because that's kind of like the rods, right? That Jeff uses.
And I've started stroking the cat with the pendulum.
Oh my gosh. That's so funny. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, but yeah, I use the pendulum for yes and no questions, and yeah, so.
All right, so we're gonna get off here, but tomorrow I'll be back on with Jenny Moonstone live at, I think we're gonna do it at 3. So we have lots of good things to talk about tomorrow.
I'll tune in and watch.
Yeah, so everybody please go find Trisha on Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also put her YouTube channel, I think, in here. I'm not sure if I did. Twitter.
Yeah, I don't really use that.
Subscribe to your YouTube because I think you're going to start making those videos. That's my advice.
Yeah, I'm going to. But I've not got many spaces for friend requests. But you can either, you know, I've only got about 200 left, and then I'm maxed out. But you can follow me because.
Damn, you have 5,000. That means you have what, 5,000 friends?
I'm about 4,800, and then yeah, I'm maxing it out, and then but all my stuff like that's public. So if you follow me, you'll be able to join the lives.
Yep.
I've got about 200
people that are sharing your thing in the chat already, so that's good. All right. So thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.
Don't hang up yet. I'm just going to make us off live. Okay. All right. Thanks everybody for watching, and I hope everybody has a great night. See you tomorrow.
Yeah.